Nestled on the banks of the Susquehanna River is a small borough that hasn't lost its historical charm.
If you look at an old postcard of about 100 years ago and you look down the streets, it looks pretty much the same.
Present-day Marietta was first a river crossing site founded in 1727, known as Anderson's Ferry. People that settled along this particular part of the river lived in either New Haven or Waterford.
And when the two were joined together, I think it was in 1812, the legend is that it was the founders' wives, Mary and Henrietta, who they named the town after, but there's different theories on that.
The town quickly became home to many ironworkers and their families. The homes from this era are sprinkled throughout the town and remain some of the most iconic buildings along the river.
Historically, it was known for a lot of things over the years. It was first a booming canal town from about, in the early 1800s, where there would be riverboats and rafts coming down the river, and they, transported lumber. The canal business was shortly, though, followed by the iron business. And I think Marietta is really known for the iron industry, as is Columbia, and at one time was actually known as Little Pittsburgh. Individually, there are a couple buildings that are recognized as individual contributions to the National Register. The Musselman Vesta Furnace Building, and it was one of the offices for the iron industry in the area, and it's one of those buildings that's still standing from that era. And the Union Meeting House is also a historic building that was a place where, at one time, just about every congregation in Marietta had services.
The Linden House, the Railroad House, and Shank's Tavern continue to remain as some of the town's most notable places. And even though these buildings still stand proudly today, the floods brought on by Hurricane Agnes in 1972 left the town heavily damaged. It took nearly a decade for the town to get back up on its feet.
I have to say, there was a big renaissance in Marietta in the 1980s. People from all over the place came here, and from urban centers. And there were all kinds of interesting shops and boutiques and, art galleries and things like that. And that kind of died off in the 90s. So we're really excited now because we think that's coming back. We feel that there's just this resurgence of really interesting little businesses in town that are really unique. And we hope that continues.
Today, this quaint river town in Lancaster County is a lovely place to live, work, hike, and experience history.
There's not these big intrusions, there's not these big, businesses have come in and totally wrecked the landscape. It still looks very much the same. That's, I think, really contributes to the charm of the place.
For Lancaster Online, I'm Shelby Vaccaro.